Kia ora, and welcome to the ManawaTech podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan. This week, I'm excited to have Patricia, and I'm really sorry for my Spanish pronunciation, Patricia Aguilar. Patricia just finished an 11th month internship, so we're going through her journey from studying in Auckland to landing many internships, being a tutor for students, as well as starting junior tech meetups in Manawatu. So I hope you enjoy this episode. So we started. Thanks for coming on to the podcast. So Patricia, for anyone who doesn't really know you, do you want to kind of explain who you are and what you're about?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. So exciting to participate in this project. And as you mentioned, my name is Patricia Virgen Aguilar, which is a Spanish name. Usually, I just go by Patricia or Betty or whatever is easy for the person. And what was the other thing? What do I do?
Yeah. What do you do? So you've been, I think
Okay.
you're interning. So like, what do you like?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you
I
about, and
just
what do you do?
last week I just finished my 11-month internship.
Nice.
With a company remotely in Auckland. So now I'm free and exploring the local um, market. Yeah.
That's cool. Because I know you've started a number of things. Firstly, congratulations finishing off that internship. And I do hope good
Yeah.
things come to you. Junior ManawaTech is something you've kind of initiated.
Yeah. It's
How's that been, that process?
yeah. So we call it junior tech,
Junior
pharmacy.
Tech, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's all good. So we started. So I've have had the idea for a while now because I've been coming to Palmerston North uh, for a while before moving in here.
Yeah.
And I came to meetups before and sort of, checked what was the landscape like, what sort of people came by, and I noticed that the meetups were excellent, right? They were great, but there wasn't anything quite for the junior people to come and ask those questions that you feel, might be too easy to ask, or there is a lot of senior people and sometimes you are shy into asking those things, am I on the right path? What sort of projects do I work on? So I thought, okay, when the time comes and I move to the city, I'll start with the project if no one else has started it. And if someone has started it, I will just see if I can come along and help. So I moved in to Bamsa North in July and there wasn't anything yet. Of course, talked with Steve and checked out and see what I asked him what his thoughts were, and he thought, what's a good idea, let's get started. And then met up with Xavier, and then the two of us, decided, yeah, let's do it. Met up made the group on meetup.com, and now we just got our group down in LinkedIn, and soon we will start publishing it, and sort of like slowly getting there and hoping we can help those that are, students, self-taught, or just trying to get there. Um, and yeah, have a mix of technical workshops and soft skills workshops, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think it was an absolutely fantastic idea because there actually wasn't anything aimed towards junior people. Even me coming in, I did feel the same. Like a lot of people were there's a lot of very experienced people there asking very higher level questions. And I felt like the questions I had or the experiences I was going through was really, they're not up to that particular level. So it's great to have that kind of small group. And it's really great
Yeah,
too because it's hard getting a job, or even in the early stages of a job, you don't feel like there's no one to share that experience with. Getting a job is also like not easy. So it's really good to have
exactly.
that kind of community. Yeah. Did you want to add on to that?
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
absolutely agree, and that's the reason exactly why, because um, there is a lot of push for getting into tech. It's a good job, but once you are there, once you're trying to make the move, it's hard to be on your own.
Exactly. Yeah. I was interviewing someone yesterday, and he said the chicken or egg. You need to have the experience to get the job, And it's like, how do you get the
Yeah, but
experience if you don't have the job?
exactly, exactly. How do you get that experience? How do you know that you are doing it the right way? How do you know that, even if you're failing at something or you're so bad at something, how do you know that that's good? A bit being bad at something sometimes is good because it's part of the process. So if you hear
Exactly.
others, then you are like, oh, actually, I'm not too bad. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously seniors are great, but then they don't have to deal with those sorts of problems like getting a job. So I think it's just really great. So you've been doing your internship for 11 months. What were you doing before that? Were you always in tech, or how'd you get into technology, or how'd you get the kind of the tech realm?
So before my internship, I did other internships as well because I was studying.
Yeah,
Um, and before I got into engineering, I did a bachelor's degree in software engineering. That was in Auckland at
yeah,
AUT.
yeah,
So years ago, I knew I wanted to get into engineering, but I, I had to make it work. First, I had to learn English. I had to take some science courses that the university asked me to do. And they told me it's going to take a while for you to get into here. So you have to do this, and that. And I thought, okay, I'll get started. So I got started. Um, and it was a long journey. And whilst I was studying and trying to get into an internship, I worked in the hospitality industry. So I had a mix of jobs from cleaning to working in a fast food restaurant as well, or
wow,
being a barista, that sort of thing, like from the scratch. Yeah.
wow. Okay, so you're really,
Yeah.
yeah, you're making the dream work. So that's really powerful, because I know a lot of people. I could be wrong. Like, they have this dream that they want to do something, right? They want to do something, but they never
Yeah.
ever take the first step. How is it for you? Are
Yeah.
you just someone who always does it, or do you have to think about it and then psych yourself up to make that first step? Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I suppose like everyone, sometimes I double think and I'm like, am I doing the right you know, am I doing what I'm supposed to? Is this for me? Kind of thing. But I have had a couple of goals clear on my mind and a couple of
Yeah.
things that I want to achieve in my life. And I thought, okay, I set my mind to do engineering and I knew I had to learn to science. And once I get there, I have to work on jobs like cleaning, for example, or I or like taking another course to do a better job. Like I did a barista course and I went to make coffee. Um, so slowly improving to get there. And my idea was, I'm getting a student loan to do this engineering degree. At
Yeah.
least I have to finish it. And we'll see where I get at the end. And if even if I don't like, even if I don't do, for example, software, I can do something close to it, or there is so many things and so many opportunities around the area. So for me, it was, what are the goals that I want to achieve when I'm 30, 40, 50? Where do I want to be, and how can I work? But and I'm not quitting. For us, like, I was born in Mexico, and for us, quitting is like, no, you have to get it done. So
Okay, that's incredible. Have you ever felt like wanting to quit? Like, let's say during your degree, so I guess how long was the the engineering degree? How long was that? Was that
yeah,
4 years?
so it's 4 years.
Yeah,
But I took a pause halfway through. I took part
yeah,
time 1 year because it did get pretty hard.
yeah.
Being on your own and studying and working and all of that, it piles up. So it was 5 years for my degree plus 2 years of learning English and sciences. So I did 7 years.
That's incredible. Like, that's really yeah, I
Yeah.
like how you have that perseverance. And it's really like coming back to the junior tech.
Yeah.
No one started it, but you did it. So I think a lot of people were
Ah,
probably thinking about it, but you did it. So yeah,
yeah,
that's
I saw the
really
opportunity and why not?
during this
Yeah.
journey, what's the most challenging, like, coming to New Zealand? What's the most challenging, like, what have been the challenges, like, to get to where you are
Uh,
today?
Winter, the cold. Um, uh, there are many challenges. I think it's hard to put them on a list, and it's hard to say, this is like the most challenging thing out of all. I think when you feel that you want to quit, and when you feel that this is not for you, having someone there to help you and tell you, no, you can do it, or I believe in you. That's, I think, the hardest thing. Having someone that you trust, that you can tell them, oh, this is horrible, or I don't want to do it, and but then having someone there, I think, is the biggest challenge, because not everyone opens up and says how they are feeling, that they are struggling. So, and if you open up and you have a good friend, that, I think, good friends is all you need. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's really good. It's really good to have like a support network. You can never do it. I think you highlighted a really good point. I think in a
Yeah,
society we live in, we live very individualistically. So we think that we have to be the one to make the success
to do
happen or make our goals happen. But you need to
exactly.
surround yourself with people who would support you. And like, if you don't do that, it's going to be really hard or even impossible. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. You need from your community and you need from the people around. Not because you cannot do it. Some people tend to think, oh, I can't do them alone. So, or I can do them alone. So I don't need any. And it's not like, for example, for me, yes, I got my degree done because I woke up in the morning. I went to university because I studied for my exam, right? But if it wasn't because I had people around me to support me or, to say every now and then, here, let's go have a drink and talk about what you're going through or let's make dinner together or here I'll make lunch for you, take it to uni. If I didn't have those
Nice.
kind of things, it
Yeah.
would have been much harder, I think, to get it done because I did have moments in which I thought, oh my god, I should have studied something else, something that had no math. you know but
How was the how was the degree structured in university? Like, did you have, was it just like computer science 101? This is how variables work, or memory management,
yeah.
or was it like very hands on, like build this web application? What was the course like?
I think it had a good a good mix of theoretical and practical components.
Yeah,
um there are a few things that I would have changed if I was going to structure the degree,
yeah,
like for example, teaching things like version control kit or for teaching how to manage your files a bit earlier. Because when
yeah.
you're a student, you have like you're working for your assignment and you have final, final. This is for real final, and then
Yeah,
you come
yeah.
and then you come across with Git and you're like, oh my god, Git add, Git commit, for part one of so many. I don't know. You add your message.
Yeah, and like
Um,
you have to work with teams, then merge conflicts. Yes, these things you have to deal with.
exactly. So I think my degree had a had mathematics. Of course, we cannot escape that in engineering,
Yeah,
and I'm I'm quite happy that we did touch maths because when you look at things like machine learning and AI and they talk about models and algorithms and that type of language, having taken math helps you to understand a little bit
yeah,
better those things. And we also took a lot of theoretical ideas like um, theoretical concepts like, for example, the architecture of an application and
mhm,
how do you structure it, or how do you put this application into a diagram, how do you visualize it, that sort of thing that wasn't just code. We took data structures, which was a pretty heavy course because we went from learning variables and strings and print hello world, that sort of thing, to
yeah.
boom, data structure. So I think it was a big jump. um, what else? We did a final year project that we have to make something for a client, build everything from scratch, gather the
What was it?
requirements.
Was it real clients? Was it actually
Yes,
yeah?
for
It's like
us,
actually real
yes.
life. Yeah. Can you tell us
Yes,
about the final project? That's quite interesting.
yeah. So
Yeah,
we had the option of the lecturers had a list of companies or a list of ideas that they
yeah,
wanted to work on, and you could pick which one you wanted the most. If you wanted to be more theoretical or you wanted to be more practical. The practical ones are for companies. But me and my team thought we don't want to choose anything from the list. We want to find something on our own. So we went
wow.
and we asked the New Zealand Army if they needed something, um, or we could develop something to make their life easy. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, you know, I was just agreeing. I was agreeing. Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So we went there. I went to Linton Camp, not doors, and say, "Is there anything that you guys need?" And there was a project that they needed, so we worked on that. Um, so the idea was to um, develop a system that was going to replace paper forms
yeah.
and eliminate the issue of when people write by hand, sometimes the handwriting is really ugly, so you can't understand what they're saying. There are data inconsistencies, how to store the data, and that sort of thing. We were trying to replace that handwritten form into something more detailed.
Nice. That's really good because I feel in those organizations, there's a lot of things they do that's very old, like aged, like they're still using paper forms and we have technology. So that's really
Yeah.
great. During that project, I'm so fascinated by how you, instead of just looking at the list, you went out there and actually picked the job. Because I think that's more kind of real life an application, because no one's ever going to give you the job in a platter, right? You have to kind of find the work yourself, if that makes sense. That's kind
Yes,
of really,
yes,
that's really
right.
cool, inspirational.
And also what we wanted, right, is we wanted the challenge of, for example, working with government departments. There is a lot of processes,
Yeah,
and there is a lot of things that need to be done sequentially. And at university, we get taught about agile methodologies, right, and how you need to be flexible. So we
yeah.
thought if we really want to apply this, what a better place to work with the government. Um, so that's what we did. Yeah, and we had an amazing time explaining technical concepts to people who wasn't, tech savvy, or who people who
Yeah.
had an idea already, or asking them, asking the soldiers, what is it that you need, what is it that you would like to see in the system, and hearing from them, and sort of think, how can we translate these plain English words, simple problem at first sight, into something that can be put, behind the screen, and that they can actually hold the trust.
That's great, Patricia, because we think that people, software developers are just computer, just writing code, mathematics. It's important, but also too, it's really important to be able to interface or be able to communicate with non-technical people, right? Like dealing with stakeholders, for example. And I think talking like my experience with how we work at my company, the manager or my leading manager, he's done a really fantastic job in explaining the technical concepts to the non-technical people. And I think that's so crucial and
Yeah,
important. The individual I was interviewing yesterday, he was saying most problems end up being communication problems, like being able to talk and communicate with other persons. So
exactly.
that's really cool. You did that with the New Zealand Army.
Yeah,
What was the
yeah.
was it a big learning curve for you, like making that final year project with the team that you worked with?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's actually putting into practice all the theories that you learned about code, and
Yeah,
working as a team, and you have to make it work, or find a way of making it work. Um,
yeah,
and for us was, you get taught about databases, about the backend, about the front end, about algorithms, but connecting everything and connecting all the dots, I think, is where the real challenge is, and that's where most people struggle
yeah,
into making their own projects. Because how do you start? But I had an awesome team. One of our team members, he had already industry experience, so he was pretty
yeah,
savvy in how things connected. And despite of that, he faced a few challenges as well. And then my other team member as well, she had great ideas, and we were just helping each other, and know, uh, each of us took like different area of the project. So one person took the security side, the other person took the database sort of backend side, and then another person took the front end, the product management, gathering requirements, kind of thing. And all the time we will ask each other, how, do you need help? How can I contribute? This is what I've done. Like translating
yeah.
to each other as well where we were
Oh yeah.
at.
Did you guys
And
have stand up, basically like daily stand ups, or like where you just
no,
explain
not
what you've done? No, no.
not necessarily daily, but we had an agreed like agreed communication channel, and we had
Yeah,
like for example, once a week at least we will meet with our supervisor for half an hour to ask questions, and then once a week or every second week we will meet with our clients to explain the process. And before meeting with our supervisor or our client, we will have to meet, like, us, to see
yeah.
what stage we're at, and also to make sure that we were, saying the right thing at the right time.
That's good. That feels very
Yeah,
like very applicable to like the real world. Did you think the degree you did set you up really well for how the real world works, or how like an actual job is?
I think it was very good, but like I said, there are things that I will improve, like in
Yeah,
any process. Um, I would have liked to see uh, more practice in the sense of how to do your own projects, right? Uh, how to, I don't know, how to not be scared, or how to practice out there. Um, but I think that's that's more into the individual rather than what the university teaches, because they can teach you.
Oh, true. Yeah, I guess a university can't do everything. They can give you like things to learn, but then you have to. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's a self-learning thing. So yeah, you got to
It's like they show
live
you the
life.
door.
Yeah, they show
Yeah,
you the door, but
but
you have to walk yourself through. And I
you
think a
have
lot of
to
people expect
open it.
like you have to open
Yeah.
it. Yeah, a lot of people expect the door to be open for them, and yeah, things coming
Yeah.
out on a
You have to
platter.
make the step, open it, and then maybe trip over. Kind of thing.
Yeah. How's the experience been with internships, like being working for different companies? How's that process been?
Internships have been well so far. The first one I think was probably the most remarkable because where where you are learning absolutely everything. Where you are scared of making a Git commit kind of thing.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
pushing your first couple of lines to production is like, oh my god, is this impressive?
yeah. Live code, you don't want to bring
Yeah,
it down.
yeah, exactly. Um, but I think if the company really wants to hire, there's very supportive people around. Luckily for my first internship, there was other engineers that were very supportive around, and other people who took it easy, and they weren't um, there wasn't a blame culture. So if
Yeah.
you made a mistake, they were like, "So it's fine, we move on to the next thing." Um, then I went to work as a computer science teacher
Mm.
at UT, and that I enjoyed because I had to teach young, newer students about
Yeah.
like again, how to use Git, how to set up an account, how to collaborate between teams, how to Google, where do you find the information, where are the good resources, and I had to mark assignments as well, and give them feedback. And sometimes I will see that students will copy the code directly online, and they will put on their assignment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will be like, I'll write a message, and I'll be like, "Oh, do not copy from
Yeah.
from online resources. I know you're copying it because I'm a student too, and I see that website."
Yeah.
So at least change the variable names, give them a meaningful name, add something about you, add a description of what the code is doing, show some sign that you understand what's happening, not just that, because all the resources are there, but there is no point if you don't understand. And that was a good thing, because I would tell them, if I see you copy again, then it will have to escalate things. So make sure you do the right thing. And seeing the students going like, oh, thank you, and they will, you know, try to actually learn. Um, that was quite fun. And then I went
Yeah.
and I did another internship, which was slightly different to software development. It was more about IT
Yeah.
in general, like networking and the general thing, cloud, DevOps, the non-coding side. And that was quite good as well, learning about how the internet works, uh,
Yeah.
how things go. Because with software engineering, unless you take networking as a minor or major, then we don't touch it.
Yeah. It's magic,
So
basically.
exactly, that
Yeah.
was quite fun. And then the next internship is this one that I and this was more um, hands-on. And I think if I hadn't done my internships beforehand, I would have struggled because
Yeah.
the level of difficulty just went.
Yeah.
So many things that I should have known already, or that I was expected to know.
Great.
Yeah,
Coming back to your experience teaching, like teaching students, were you able to figure out what made, you know, what were the characteristics or what made a good student compared to like an average student or a poor student? What were there any common traits?
yeah. I think the interest in general, how interest someone is in the subject,
Yeah.
because come on, some things in we love tech, but learning some of these things are really boring.
Yeah.
So younger people, I don't know, they were 18, 19-year olds for the most part. So at that age, your mind mostly somewhere else.
Yeah.
But people that try to have a conversation, that ask the questions, or they were, I think also how you make them feel. If you make them feel comfortable, they are more willing to open and to ask, why does this work? And it's like, yeah, those traits. like I'm interested. I feel comfortable asking questions. I want to participate. And I'm not, I'm willing to make the mistakes. So it's like versus someone who have no interest. I want to go and party, because I had those students who were in class trying to organize the party they were going to go on Friday night. Or yeah,
Yeah.
um, and or I'm not going to class, or it's not worth it. It's an attitude thing, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think tech is great. I think a lot of people see maybe the job aspect of it, like it's a stable job, it earns pretty well, stable in some sense. So a lot of people do the degree for that reason, which I don't think is the best reason. You should have like an underlying passion, right, for it. Like else it's just not going to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Although maintaining that passion can be a bit hard when
Yeah.
when you are learning and when nothing works, or when you even when you even stuck with the same bug for hours and you realize it's a comma or it's a taboo. That happened to me
Yeah.
when I was studying. I didn't know how to use the IDE to the bug. Um,
Yeah.
and once I learned how to debug, I was like, oh, duh, this is much easier.
But
But
I guess that keeps you going as well, right? I mean, like, yeah,
yeah,
imagine
yeah,
if you didn't have the interest, you wouldn't be looking how to debug. You would just, I don't
yeah,
know, copy the code on the
yeah,
internet.
exactly, exactly. I think you need to have a couple of reasons, more than just one reason why you would like to stay in tech. Of course, it is rewarding, it's well paid, but if your sole reason is that it's well paid, you might become miserable in the long run because it's not easy.
Hmm,
Yeah.
exactly. I agree. And with the kind of work in New Zealand and remote work, how do you find working remote? Is it something you've always done in the internships, or have you been in office, or what have you done like work wise? Are you
I've,
remote or in the office?
yeah, I've done a combination. I've done fully remote, I've done hybrid, and I've done in the office completely. Um, and I think my favorite so far is hybrid.
Yeah,
Um, I I have no problem working remotely, but I do enjoy seeing the team, at least
yeah,
every now and then. Um, and then so will be hybrid, my favorite one, and then remotely my second favorite, and every day to the office will be my least favorite. I
yeah,
think, yeah, I think it's because the amount of time you save on transport, costs, work-life balance, that sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I think hybrid is best. Hence, instead of looking for something fully remote at the moment, if I can find something hybrid, that will be my preferred choice.
yeah. And I think having that choice is a good idea. What's the biggest challenge of working remote, you think?
I think getting to know your workmates
Yeah,
in a little bit more personal level, right? Like make a couple of jokes or a little bit fun here and there, because that's how we are in New Zealand. We more laid back, easygoing, and still work hard. It's like have fun but work hard. I
yeah.
think find that balance there is the hardest. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because like the team I'm working with, it's been 7, 8 months, and I haven't seen them in person, like, in real life. They're just computer, images on the computer screen. And
Yeah,
like you
yeah,
are right too, having that kind of what do you call it? Banter. Yeah, the office banter is like really, I
yeah,
think, really key in New Zealand teams as well.
yeah.
Do you do you know like do you have any advice for someone like a younger version of yourself or people who are going through the same journey you are? Like, do you meet people like that?
Yes, yes, I do. And sometimes, like I think all of us can look back and say, I would have done something differently. Um,
Yeah,
and advice for myself would be uh, follow the structure a little bit closer. Um, or I think learn how to prioritize. Because that was I slowly learned that. And if I had learned how to prioritize earlier, I think I would have made my life easy. Um, and
okay.
also don't overstress or overcomplicate things. Um, and for someone that is newer and just starting, just be ready for the challenge. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. Um, and once you accept the problem is not necessarily you, but the learning curve is there. then things are much easier, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
suddenly you can relax and say, okay, learning how to code is not something that I will learn in 1 month. It's something that you will start seeing a little bit more results in after 1 year, and then the second year, and the third year when you're at university, you're sort of more comfortable because there are so many things that you need to learn. Like you can learn the language if you want in 6 months, in 3 months, a shorter amount of time. But then there are other things around that, like how to use IDs, how to search online properly. Now with generative AI and some types of helpful tools, how to use them to teach you, not to cheat
Yeah.
yourself. Huh?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you
Yeah, yeah. Like you don't want to copy the code. You want to look at the code, understand it, or give it a code to like explain this to me, and then give me links to learn more. Yeah, you're exactly right.
exactly. Yeah. Also, that will be my best advice. Not cheat. Don't cheat yourself when you are learning.
Don't cheat yourself. Yeah, you got to learn hard. And I
Yeah.
think you said like with learning to code. I think learning to code is a lifelong journey, right? And you said there's always more things to learn, and it's not just writing code as well. And you highlight the point of talking to clients, communicating. So that's kind of and working in a team. Like these things that people don't think about, but crucial to being a successful
Absolutely.
person in the tech industry. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In terms of like life outside of programming, do you like what obviously you were studying really hard, working part-time jobs. What were you able to get a kind of doing the internships? Were you able to get kind of a balance? Like what do you do outside of tech to keep yourself sane?
Yeah. So there were times in which there was not much in the way of plans, right? It was all wake up, 5 in the morning, um, have breakfast, with shower, go study, get ready, or catch the first bus, go to uni, come back, work, or the opposite, work in the morning and then study in the afternoon. Um, I had my friend at uni who she was studying engineering as well,
Yeah,
but she was studying a different degree. She was doing construction, and we would always organize, like I'll take something for lunch and you take something for dinner, and we knew that we were going to be at uni from 7 to 11, like 11 p.m.
yeah.
Literally until we got kicked out by security.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we will have times and we will have little breaks, gather together, invite other people, have food, and that was just right. Or on the weekend, I like gardening, so I'll probably get into my plants. I like to grow my own vegetables and do a little bit of that, or go and have a walk to the ocean where you can. Um, so those little moments that you can fit in between, they are great. Uh, but per se of going and have a huge holiday, that wasn't much in the way of it. It's all study when you are there.
In the future, where do you see yourself in technology? You're talking about AI modeling. Is that something you want to get into, or do you have big plans? Start your own company? What are your big
Oh,
goals?
um, well, one of the reasons why I chose to study engineering is because I want to become like a business owner. I would like to have my own
Yeah,
company. In what? I'm not sure yet because there are so many opportunities out there. Um, And yes, I think I see myself working in tech in the long run because I generally like it, and I'm doing things like junior tech comes so it will come around either from the left or the right. But in the position, I'm not sure. In life, there are positions that we don't we don't even know are going to be created. It's very hard to predict. So for engineers today, I don't know, universe creator tomorrow.
exactly.
So
Definitely right. I think it's
yeah,
really well said. I think your goals can change and life could be, I guess it's always important to have like a North Star, like a thing you want to aim towards, but then just realize like you're basically a ship going towards a location, but then there could be storms in front of you. So you've got to navigate around those. So life always changes. So I think
yeah.
great answer.
Absolutely, and priorities tend to change as we age as well, and there are other factors that we matter most. Family is one of them, a big factor that many guys don't talk about it. It tends to be this is where the gender thing comes, right? More
Yeah.
females tend to talk about the family side uh, in the out world, but in the groups that I've been in tech, guys do tend to talk about family when they feel more comfortable. There are things that for them it's also a priority. So goals change around that. And it comes back
Yeah.
again to we are all humans, right? It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
gender you are. Those things are on the background. Um, so yeah, I suppose, anything can happen.
Great. So we're getting to the tail end of the podcast. I usually ask these questions like to every guest, but I'm trying to. One question is, what's your favorite item on your desk?
Oh, my plants.
Yeah,
So
you
I have a
can show the
plant in the
plant if
back.
you want to. Yeah, plant. We see the
I
plant in the background.
Yeah,
So I guess
and then
people who are listening obviously can't see it, but yeah,
yeah,
they'll have to watch the podcast.
I have the same plant here on my desk. It's the
Yeah.
same, but this one I bought it in one of my internships. Uh, I was working at Internships in Albany office.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, cool.
it's getting really big, and it has a name. It's called
What's
La
the
Planta.
name? La Panther.
Yeah. So me and
Cool.
my colleague were talking about how we needed more plants in the office, and we had this little competition to see whose plant was going to survive and whose plant was going to die. Yeah. So we named our plant, and my one made it, and I think he's didn't. So man, I don't know if he's listening to this. I would like to know if your plant survived. But last time I saw it, the plant only had one leaf, and it was looking all, all sad. Um, and mine is just majestic. So that's my favorite item.
That's really cool. What's your favorite desktop application, or do you have like a favorite tool that it could be a CLI tool or any tool that you use?
No, I don't have a favorite tool. For me, it's about the right tool for the right job.
Yeah,
What works now might not work, the next thing. What I do like with some tools though is their reliability. Reliability. I want to
yeah.
know that they work, that they are going to be trustable. So if I know I can trust them on a moment of rush, then they are my favorite one. And then the
Okay,
list goes.
cool. Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. Cool. Was there anything you wanted to add or say?
Hmm, I don't know. We'll say to the people listening, have fun, enjoy your work where you can, and of course, it gets challenging, it's hard, but it's a sense of humor. Trying to look at it from a different view sometimes it helps. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Cool, that's great words of advice. So if someone wanted to get in touch with you or learn more about you, how do they get in touch with you
Yeah,
or
so
learn
they
more
can
about you?
find me on LinkedIn. Just search for my name, Patricia Virgen, and that's
Cool.
Virgen, or come to the Junior Tech Meetup event, and yeah, we can have a chat there.
Awesome. We'll link your LinkedIn in the show notes. What was the when are the junior tech events? It's on
Oh,
meetup.com, right?
yes, and we will also
Yeah.
be sharing them in our LinkedIn group that we will be, posting. But I'm sure you will find them on my post, or you can find them as well shared by ManawaTech as well. I think you guys have shared the next one coming up.
Perfect. Cool. We'll link it down in the show notes. Thanks for being on, Patricia. And yeah, it was really fun chatting with you and getting to know you more. Hopefully, when we do more episodes, we can have you on again. So
Oh,
thank you so much.
absolutely, absolutely. Any help? Here I am.
Cool. Thanks, Patricia. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Cool. Thank you for listening to the podcast with Patricia. Make sure you check out the show notes and come along to the Junior Tech meetups. See you again.